been to provide more efficient and effective services to the people of Iowa. One of our numerous areas where we made significant progress in the department is in the Department of Transportation. Thanks to the leadership of Director Paul Trevino and his team, we have seen record amounts of activity in building roads and bridges, even in this challenging time. One of the reasons is because when Paul became the director, one of the first things that happened was the flood along the Missouri River in the year 2011. And you've seen the pictures of the devastation of Interstate 680 and many of the roads and bridges in western Iowa. Fortunately, Paul put together a plan to rebuild 680 in a record amount of time. Now, FEMA rules say you have 6 months after a flood to do that. Now, unfortunately, this flood started in late May because of the release of water by the Corps of Engineers, and it continued until mid-September. The FEMA rule was that you only have from the end of September, you have not from the end of September a 6-month period, but from late May. That was a tremendously constricted timetable to get all that work done and get full federal reimbursement. Well, I'm proud to say that we were able to get it done. They worked day and night, 34 straight days. Unfortunately, we had 34 straight days without rain, and they rebuilt 680, and the Lieutenant Governor and I were there for the dedication, and it snowed. So I'll never forget that, the juxtaposition, but the result was we got full reimbursement for 680 and all those other projects in western Iowa, and that money was able to go into our road projects, and that's the reason why a record amount of construction was able to be done. And I want to congratulate Paul for that. He also has identified now nearly $50 million of ongoing administrative cost reductions that can also go into the road fund. And so we're always asking Paul to be a problem solver and come up with new ideas. And one of the latest is this idea about being able to renew your driver's license online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from any computer or mobile device with an internet connection. The lives of Iowans are busy and their time is valuable, and so we think this is a tremendous service for the people of Iowa. It may not always be convenient for everyone to come to the driver's license station during normal business hours. Of course, it's a lot easier now that they can go to the county treasurer's office in most of our rural counties. But this system was created to give Iowans flexibility to renew their driver's license or their ID when and where it's convenient for them. There is no better way for government to serve its citizens than to find efficiencies and find quicker ways to provide access to the service they need. And now I want to turn over to the Lieutenant Governor, who has considerable knowledge on this whole driver's license issue.
I've lived it, that's true. Thank you very much, Governor. The system has really been created to protect the safety and identity of our system and of our citizens, and because of that, there are certain stipulations in place that determines who can renew their driver's license or their ID online. First of all, you must have a valid Iowa driver's license or ID, and this does not apply to commercial driver's license. You need to be between the ages of 18 and 70 years old to renew online. The license or ID cannot be expired for more than a year, and you must be at less than 180 days prior to your renewal date for your current license or your ID. You must be a U.S. citizen, and you can't have any medical or vision conditions that would impact the ability to drive. You also, in order to renew online, you can't change your address, or any name change is not allowed if you're going to be renewing online. Renewal cards will contain the same photo and the same signature as your existing driver's license or ID. Customers will only be allowed to renew their driver's license or ID through the online system every other renewal period. Renewal periods and cost are the same regardless of how many cards are renewed. However, the system, so that the cost is the same, but the system, because of the convenience when you go online, there is a $1.50 convenience fee. As with the in-person renewals, a new card will be sent in the mail to you within 30 days. And customers who renew their driver's license online, then they should continue to carry their existing driver's license with them or ID until they receive the new driver's license or ID in the mail. And then after going through the renewal process, a proof of transaction can be printed and that can be carried with you along with your current ID or your driver's license, again, until you've received your new card in the mail. At this point, I'm excited about this new service, Paul. I think it gives customers choice, and that's what this is all about, is giving customers the choice and the option to make that decision. So I think Director Trombino is going to now walk you through how the online process works.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. We do have a demo here that we're going to walk through. It is a demo because we wanted to make sure that it was secure for everybody. But yeah, I can't say enough. I want to thank the department team. This really was a team effort to really pull this together. And we're really committed to really making the interaction smarter, simpler, and customer driven for all of our actions that we interact with the citizens of the state. Online renewal is one of more service within our what we call My MVD system that helps Iowans take care of any needs related to their driver's license and driver record when and where it is convenient for them. Today, and that's the great news, there's nearly 284,000 Iowans are eligible to renew online. Allowing those citizens to renew online is not only convenient for them, but it also helps reduce a lot of the congestion that we have had at driver's license stations and county treasurer station offices across the state. Time spent at renewal locations should be shorter for those who must renew or do other transactions in person. And the final thing that we really want to emphasize today is don't be fooled by imitation websites or any other mobile apps that maybe will charge unreliable and charge a fee that is unrelated to the Iowa DOT. All of our system is free. Our mobile apps are free, and the only place that you can do this transaction is at iowadot.gov. So the official Iowa DOT online renewals website can only be accessed through Iowa DOT's website or DOT's mobile app, which is My Iowa DOT. So that's the big piece that we wanted to emphasize today. So I thought today what we do is do a kind of a quick run through so you can get a sense for it. This is a mock-up. It will, so just real fast, I'm going to click over. Here's our website, which we have made some modifications to really make it a much easier portal for folks to walk into. But then I'm going to come back into the splash screen and kind of walk through. The first thing is you need to have your driver's license with you. That's an important piece for it because there's some numbers off there that you're going to use as you go in. But you see 24/7 online services. It says get it now. You click that button there. And then it'll say licensed drivers. That's the area that we're focused on. As Lieutenant Governor indicated before, it's really just for licensed drivers, not commercial drivers or anything like that. So you click that. And then it brings up the area, and you'll see it up on the upper left, Renew My Iowa License online. Just click that. And what we did is we loaded information just from a security perspective. So this is Mary's sample as we move forward. And basically what it's going to do is you're going to put all of your information in there. You're going to load your information in there. It actually asks for your driver's license number, another reason you want to carry that with you. And then you click the I-certification, and then you just hit continue. And then it's going to ask for the first 5 digits of the number off the bottom of your license. And it shows you exactly where it is. You input that, you hit next. And then here's where it's going to be asking you questions. And this is really a sense to get some of the vision update, as Lieutenant Governor talked about. And so these won't come, with the blue dots in the thing. The person will actually have to go through and click those up. And every time you go through these screens, one of the things when you hit next, it'll give you a verification. The blue screen is really that bottom is to say, are you sure all of these are correct? It's that one last chance for you. Because if you've indicated something that makes you ineligible, and then you click through here, you will be required to then come in online. So because you're actually telling it something that maybe doesn't make you eligible for renewal online. So once you hit next, it takes you through. Again, this is more of a confirmation of your personal information about what we have on record. And you sort of click through those, any other changes that you have there, click next again. At this point, this is basically the blue box, again, making sure that you're verified all those, it gives you one last shot to verify all those information. And finally, step 4 is really a lot of the personal information, going through your name, making sure that there aren't any changes, as Lieutenant Governor talked about, verifying your address. We have it as 800 Homes Way, in this case, as our sample, and verify all of your personal identifying information. Hit next again, you'll get a quick blue box just to confirm. One more time. And then finally, this is just a summary review that you can look through. When you hit next, basically you get the certification, what we call the penalty and perjury statement, basically verifying that all of the information is accurate. You'll hit OK. And this will, where it comes to the fee, in this case it's $20, and then the convenience fee is, as Lieutenant Governor indicated, so it's $21.50. Once you hit submit, what will happen, and we're not going to do it here, it basically takes you to our standard online transaction that the state government utilizes. Again, you can use, you go through a checkout process with either a Visa, MasterCard, or Discover, pay for that transaction, and then this final step comes up, which is, as the Lieutenant Governor indicated in our final statement, says proof of transaction. And when you click the proof of transaction, what will come up is the summary, and I'm going to try to shrink it to make sure that it comes up here. And so you can see that basically what it looks like is essentially what you would get, and you can print this off as the Lieutenant Governor indicated and cut it out. You can keep it with you. You don't have to, it's not required. It's really your receipt, as I would call it, to verify that you have paid and renewed your driver's license. And then you just keep your driver's license until, as the Lieutenant Governor indicated, you should get your license in the mail in 30 days. So that's the short and quick example. We have a couple examples that I thought I'd just walk through. And so a lot of times somebody may just enter it and maybe they're just ineligible, just upon login. So what we did is we did Bob's sample now, and basically he put all of his information in, certifies, and basically he gets continue. And what will happen is essentially he didn't meet the online renewal period requirement. So maybe he was outside of the window range, and so it automatically.
The window is 180 days?
Less than 180 days prior to that renewal period.
Okay, mine isn't due in November. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm eligible.
You're eligible.
Right?
Yep. So it's
Actually, I'm just checking that out. Are you going to make this available at the state fair or anywhere like that?
Oh yeah, so we're going to do a lot of things coming up at the state fair. We'll have an announcement shortly on that, where we're going to have some pretty fun things.
You heard it here first.
So,
Well, I intend to renew mine at the state
state fair, yeah. So we're going to do that. That's going to be great. And so you can see it just directs the person essentially to visit, the nearest site. But we have one other example in here that I just wanted to go through. And it's based on, if somebody selected something because maybe something changed for them. And this is our James sample. Again, they put all their information in, hit continue. Their first 5 digits off their license, hit continue. And then as they go through, maybe they have, this is sort of that vision update as they kind of answer those questions. In this case, this person indicated that they've had some eye trauma, maybe since their last update or recently. So they hit next, and they get one last chance to verify, yes, that they're, this is what they've indicated. They hit next. And again, what it does is it indicates that you don't meet the requirements to renew online. In this case, they would have to come in, either pass the vision screen or go see an eye doctor and bring in a proof of that eligibility for that license renewal. So it does have a lot of those pieces built in so that there isn't a lot of repeat in that sense, to make sure that we're directing people correctly. So finally, I guess, I can't say enough. I want to thank the department's team. I want to thank the governor, lieutenant governor for really their leadership and the opportunity to bring this forward. As with all things, in motor vehicle, we're really moving forward with a lot of different things for services. So this is, I think, just the beginning of where we're going to get to. Again, you can sign up and receive renewal notices electronically. You can change mailing addresses electronically. You can get a copy of your driver record. You can find out what's needed to reinstate a license that has been revoked or suspended, and you can pay civil fines. That's really the beginning of where we're going to go, and soon you'll see a lot more services from us online. So again, thank you very much.
Paul, thank you. Questions about this?
Mr. Trombino, you've indicated, this is sort of the honor system as far as saying I don't have any vision problems, and you've indicated that you're not concerned about that.
Well, I think that it's consistent with the process that we have right now. People always come into when they come in the office, they certify that there haven't been significant changes in their eye statement. The screen that we do is not a vision test, it's really just a quick screen. And this is consistent, that online version is really consistent with that. And the statement that you sign is also the exact same one that you do if you did it in person.
Director Trombino, can you talk about the security concerns that your team had to address, given the questionability about security on here?
I think we have a very secure system. So security for us relative to driver's license records, personal identifying information is really one of the utmost highest standard things that we really watch and maintain because it is all of our information as customers. And so what we were trying to show there is we didn't want to do a real example here. You know, if I was inputting my social security number or something like that, you would see that physically. And so that's why we made a sample from a security perspective, just to make sure that we weren't exposing. But the system is very secure and addresses all the highest protocol security standards relative for folks to do things online.
So someone who's concerned about the security, you're reassuring them that there should be no problem.
There is no problem.
Why can people only renew every other time? What was the logic behind that?
There was a lot of debate on that issue, I think, during this last legislative session. And part of that is, there's a couple of things going on. If under a 5-year renewal, we would not see you for 10 years, that's an example. And now we're going to move that to 8 years, so it would actually be 16 years. And there's going to be changes within that time. We thought it was important from a safety perspective to have folks come in and to see if there were any significant changes or with them physically or others. A lot of people move or other changes happen.
Other questions?
And you mentioned this, you gave us a warning about phony sites. Do you have any reason to think there are going to be some phony sites out there?
Well, as soon as, I do have a reason, actually, as soon as the legislation got passed, there were a lot of sites that were popping up saying that they could get you could renew your Iowa driver's license online by coming here. We actually went and looked at some of them, and you would actually have to pay. We went through it just to see, and so we were concerned that there was a lot of information out there, and we just can't emphasize it enough. It's one of the big messages that I would hope that you guys would carry forward for us too, is that the only place to renew your driver's license online is through iowdot.gov or our mobile app. That's really the place to come. It's secure. That's where you're going to put all your information to be able to review that activity. All the rest of them are really giving you false information.
Other questions on this? If not, we'd be glad to respond to your questions on other sections.
Why would you even consider giving more state assistance to Warsaw?
Well, that was part of the original agreement. In fact, remember, this is a credit against future tax. We anticipate they'll be paying about $50 million in future tax every year, money that we wouldn't have gotten if they had gone to Illinois. By the way, if the legislature had reduced the corporate income tax as we requested last year, and Mr. Bolcom's the chairman of that committee, then this would not have had to happen. So in other words, we told them, we know Iowa's corporate tax at 12% is the highest in the country. It's uncompetitive, and your customers, primarily farmers, and not like John Deere or Rockwell Collins, most of their sales outside the state. So in order to provide a fair and competitive situation, we felt this was absolutely essential. But the neat thing is, we already have 500 people employed in construction, another 250 that are soon going to be hired, and Mr. Bolcom would like to put all those people out of work. I think that is terrible, and I think it's him that's prevented us from getting this tax reduction for all other corporations in the state as well.
What is that extra money for, though? Why do they need the addition?
Well, that was part of the original agreement. The Iowa corporate income tax has a top rate of 12%, and it is so uncompetitive that to be able to compete even with Illinois, which has all kinds of problems, we had to say that we're going to provide this kind of a tax credit. Remember, this is a credit against future tax. So and they'll pay, we estimate, $50 million a year in future taxes. That's a tremendous windfall for the state. Should the state get a bigger windfall? No, I don't think that's fair, considering the fact that they're creating all these good construction jobs. They're also going to have permanent jobs, and it's going to reduce the cost of nitrogen fertilizer for Iowans. So this is a real benefit. It's really a tragedy that the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee that could have reduced the tax for all Iowa companies would attack this and attack these good jobs in Lee County, Iowa, the county that had the highest unemployment in the state of Iowa when I was elected governor. By the way, we also have a record level of employment in the state, and the unemployment level in Lee County has dropped from over 11% to about 6.5%. So I think that shows that we've made good decisions and good things are happening as a result of it.
Governor, maybe I'm forgetting something here. I don't remember you pushing for a corporate income tax cut.
Oh yes, that was in
This
my
year?
first year.
This year?
No,
Not
last
this-
year.
last
We
year.
put it in the program last year and Bolcom blocked it, and he made it clear he wasn't willing to do it this year either. So this year we focused on things that could be accomplished, and we did get significant property tax relief and included some of the income tax reductions he wanted, and he voted against the bill. I can't believe it. He voted against the bill, even including his priorities, as we did in this bipartisan compromise that passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. He is a job killer, and I don't think that's right that somebody like that should have this kind of position as chairman of the Ways and Means Committee when we're working to try to bring good jobs, especially to Lee County, the county with the highest unemployment in the state, which is benefiting from these good construction jobs. 500 already in place, another 250 will soon be hired. Eventually it's going to be over 2,000.
Governor, I had a question about the Iowa Juvenile Hall. The Department of Human Services says it doesn't know how many children were placed in isolation in 2011 and 2012. And it says that in order to determine that, a requesting party would have to pay about $31,000 to get the information. Is that the kind of information the state should have just for its own purposes?
Well, first of all, I think that the department has taken appropriate corrective action. The person in charge of the juvenile home has been replaced. The practice has been changed. Now, your question is with regard to these records. I'm not familiar with that information. I always come down on the side of making as much of information available and accessible to the public and at lowest cost as possible. So we do have the new Public Information Board. I would certainly ask the Public Information Board to look into this.
Has your office asked for any information on the number of children placed in isolation?
Well, we just became aware of this. Recently. And we obviously want to make sure the children of Iowa are protected and appropriate action is taken. From what I understand, and Michael Bourgeois is a staff person as a liaison to the Department of Human Services. He's assured me the department has taken appropriate action to prevent these kind of things from happening in the future.
The director of DHS indicated that he's not sure whether he agrees with the home's internal assessment that its use of seclusion represented a poor standard of care. Have you given that any thought?
Well, Michael, why don't you respond to that?
What I think is important is that Chuck has worked with leadership at the Iowa Juvenile Home to recognize that there was a practice going on that was inappropriate. They identified that practice. They've changed the leadership at that facility. They've also changed the practices and standards of care at that facility. They are moving forward with a solution that is implementing a high level of care for the troubled youth that are served at that home. And Chuck and DHS are committed to a high level of care for the youth and individuals that are under their care.
I would just say, we're believers in continuous improvement, just as we've demonstrated today with the Department of Transportation. We try to work every day to try to provide the best services we can in the most efficient and economical way, and we want to make sure that everybody is treated with respect and dignity.
You indicated there's been a change of leadership. Was the former superintendent asked to resign or to retire?
I don't know
Was that
the
entirely
information
on
on that. I don't know the information on that. I don't try to micromanage departments and agencies. I do have confidence in Chuck Palmer and the Department of Human Services that they've done the appropriate and right thing.
Thanks, Governor.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
have some about Forest Tunnel. I'm confused. I thought you told us that they would get more money if the legislature did not pass property tax reform.
No,
I don't
income tax,
remember-
corporate income,
I-
no, that
it
was the deal from the
property
very
tax.
beginning. No, it was corporate income tax. On the property tax, they already are getting abatements and things like that. The concern on the property tax was that it's too high for commercial and industrial properties generally. But when you have a big project like this, communities provide all kinds of abatements and all those kinds of things. But the concern here was the corporate income tax and that top rate of 12% being so uncompetitive. Now, for a company like John Deere, Rockwell Collins, many others that do a lot of international business, we have a single factor formula. It's only based on sales in Iowa. But this company is making nitrogen fertilizer to selling to Iowa farmers. We are the leading corn producing state. A lot of this will go to Iowa farmers. The Farm Bureau estimates the savings, once this is full up and in operation, is going to be $700 million a year in less cost for fertilizer for Iowa farmers. This is a tremendous deal for Iowa farmers. It's good jobs, and it's unfortunate that the person that could have reduced the corporate income tax for everybody is attacking the jobs in Lee County, Iowa.
Great, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.